So what's up, YouTube world? So I had a problem that many have addressed on here about a 2000, this is a 2000 Chevy Impala, but with a lot of these Impalas not shifting from park due to one of the wires breaking or severing off the connector, this wiring harness, and either having to get a new harness or soldering the wire. So what I did was in my case, it was the black ground wire. I soldered it and shrink wrapped it, heat shrinked it, and soldered the connection and put it back together. I also took up the shifter. There's 4 bolts. There's one right here, and 2 on the other side on parallel to those bolts. Took the shifter off and I moved the shifter. It's all back together now, but I moved the shifter so I could get to this wiring, to the 4 wires that are right here, because this plastic underneath here is kind of sharp. So what I did was I just cut a little bit of this tape down here to pull out these wires some more, and I put a piece of heat shrink wrap around here. Now you're probably asking how I did that. I took all these wires out of here, out of this connector. I took all the wires out of here, and I had to feed the wires through the this large piece of shrink wrap. So when I did that, I fixed all the wires, and the vehicle shifted fine. It shifted out of park, everything was good. So then I wanted to protect it more, so I put that heat shrink on, and when I took the wires out of this connector, the wires, the hot wires, one of them touched each other, and I heard a relay or something click up by the ignition, or up near the dash on the driver's side. I'm like, well, okay, that's not good. So what happened was, when I put all the wires back in this connector, hooked the connector back up, it shifted fine. However, I could not get the key out. It was locked in the accessory position, and I couldn't get it out. So I did a little research, and if you take those wires out, or when you connect all the wires together, if you get a new harness and you cross the hot wires, it will blow a fuse. Now, when I heard that relay kick, or whatever kicked up here by the ignition switch, I knew probably a fuse blew, because it wouldn't let me remove the key. It was locked in the accessory position. So I did a little research and found out that there's a fuse here on the passenger side, down on the floorboard. There's a 10 amp fuse, if you could see that. There's a 10 amp fuse way up in the upper left hand corner, beside above the 25 amp fuse and that 3412 relay. There's a 10 amp fuse, okay? That fuse is somehow wired in with the ignition switch wired in the ignition switch. So when I touch those wires, when I touched the wires down here, when I took them out, I blew that 10 amp fuse down there. Now, the 10 amp fuse is listed on page 399 of the owner's manual, and it's listing there it is, the wrap fuse, retained accessory power fuse. And there's the fuse right there. And that fuse was blown. So what happened was, I replaced that fuse, that little 10 amp fuse, and was able to get the key out, the key out of the ignition, and it went to the off position. So if you find yourself with that problem, after you get this problem fixed and you run into another problem when you can't get the key out, okay, and you can't get the key out, it's that 10 amp fuse right down here on the passenger side kickboard, and that 10 amp fuse is blown. So I hope that solves your problems. If you fix this and you got this far and you run into the problem where you can't remove the key, and it shifts fine but you can't remove the key, that's the problem, that 10 amp fuse. So hope that helps you out. Thanks to everybody for helping me out, and hope this helps you if you run into this situation. Thanks a lot. Bye.